What up, y'all, and welcome to another Elev8 with Diligent Glass. Wow, like, it's so amazing I just to see these cats come through and their skill levels build so quickly. This guy, his art is amazing, and I was just blown away how long he had been blowing glass. Real quickly, I want to mention we have this really awesome ambassador program. You need to check it out. It's a great way to help build Elev8 as well as earn some credits, some dollars, all kinds of stuff. We have a really cool marble trade-in program. You just can't touch this, like MC Hammer said. Also, we got Elev8 veterans. Man, another thing you just can't touch. Like, it's pretty cool. You need to check it out. And anyways, I'm just really excited to get into this Diligent Glass right now. Glass today, thank you so much for joining, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. So my first question, man, how did you get into this crazy thing of glass blowing?
Man, glass blowing in art to me has always just been one of the coolest things to watch. I remember even in, middle school in Michigan, we have what was called Greenfield Village, where they would do soft glass blowing. And as time went, I grew up on a farm in Hart, Michigan, a really small town.
So
always
you know
working
what hard
with my
work
hands.
is.
I know what hard work is. Yeah, totally. And coming out of high school, I was actually really into music, and music and the arts and the whole thing. So I got really lucky, and my little podunk little hometown is the home of Electric Forest. Which is like a huge music festival that people from all over come. And, this is in 2008 when the Rothbury Music Festival came. It was like Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson and all these guys, And in high school, I was always the guy who everybody gave their iPod to go and fill with music and do all that sort of thing. So going into college, I actually was going into audio engineering, and I had my own little radio show that I did. And with being in that art scene and then being connected to the music festival so much, I was like trying to figure out how can I make this sustainable? How can I don't feel like I should have to be behind a desk for all of my life, and so myself and a group of friends in 2012, we founded the See What You See Art Collective and Gallery, where I was never an artist myself. In college, I took classes, and in high school, I was really good with woodworking. I actually got the woodworking award for my high school, and so.
So you were an artist. You didn't know it though. There was nobody really pushing it into you and seeing it in you, and then you had it. Obviously, if you're with
I was always the orchestrator. I always had an eye for artwork. I loved photography, and we had 12 to 14 different artists on our art collective that I went out and found, and I would wholesale their artwork from them, whether it was glass art, pine cones. We did a lot of hat pins. My girlfriend at the time, she was a really great artist, and I took her designs and turned them into hat pins. And this is when Pretty Lights, was a really popular artist, and I went on Pretty Lights tour, and selling hat pins with my friends. And we vended a lot of different events. We were at Bonnaroo, Electric Forest, we did the whole thing for a while, and this is, again, I did a lot of photography with the art collective because I would buy and, wholesale and help, do commission for other people's artwork. And so I got really good at just taking pictures of people's glass art and just becoming really, really connected to the medium and just not really knowing that this is my calling, And so I actually, through the grapevine, one of my buddies was in front of, I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We have what's called the Intersection. It's one of the coolest venues.
A music venue?
Yeah, it's a music venue. And tons of big names come through there. Just really cool place. But they've never minded any of the artists selling their artwork in front of the venue. So I'll do a little shout out to my homie Kairu. This is before I met Kairu, Kyle Walters. But he was selling his pendants and pipes and rigs in front of the shop, and my buddy saw him and was like, "Man, Dylan, me, Dylan would love this, you know? Right. What's your information?" And he got his information. And this was a glass blowing studio that he worked at in Grand Rapids, Michigan, called Sacred Expressions, right. Owned by my mentor, who introduced me to glass blowing, is Stephen Wheeler, and he goes by Coldwork. And yeah, so it all just kind of came together with that. I started selling all of their artwork in my art collective at music festivals. And one day, you know, I was really into the photography aspect of it. And this is when I was buying lots of Stephen Coldwork and Kyle's work. And I would do basically cold calling. I would go from other shop to other shop across the country, and I got their artwork everywhere. But
you're a hustler.
Yeah, it's in my blood. In the first grade, my mom, it's funny, she tells this to people, but in the first grade, my mom's a school teacher. All right. And she's taught English for a long time. She actually just recently retired, but it was in first grade, she gave me a Pokemon magazine that had an entire sheet of tattoos in it. And I cut them all up and I brought them on the playground. And I knew that everybody had $1.25 in their pocket. And I literally sold all of these tattoos to all of my friends on the playground in first grade. I brought $45 home to my mom and was like, "Mom, you know, look," I was all excited, you know.
And that's a boatload of cash at that age.
For first grade, yeah, you know. And she was so upset. She made me give it all back and stand in front of class and everything. But yeah, no, long story short with that though, I was doing photography though, Coldwork, Stephen Wheeler and Ben Burney, known as Global Glassworks. They were doing a collab, and after the collab, Stephen asked if I wanted to try glass blowing. And I was like, yes, this is the moment. Yes, please, you know. And honestly,
then it bit you. That's where you got.
And then it just, man, it just connected with me so much. And you know, everybody has their issues and their struggles in life. And when I found glass blowing, it was such a release of expression that I'd never found before. It's such a flow state, you know. It allowed me to be present with myself, because if you're not present, I mean, the glass is so volatile, it's going to immediately show in whatever you're doing, you know.
Right. Glass only breaks because you failed. It doesn't just break.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, you know, that's how I got into glass blowing though. I've always really loved artwork. And that's what kind of led me to meeting Stephen, who introduced me to glass blowing. And from there, you know, I was at his shop. And Stephen, man, he really did help me out in my beginning stages. You know, he saw potential in me, and he let me get torch time for taking care of the shop. He had a glass gallery and a tattoo shop. And when I was in there, you know, taking care, had the open sign up, and, you know, whenever I was in there, he let me blow glass, and right. It was awesome. So,
and yeah, what year was this that you started doing this?
This was 2018, actually. Very not too long ago.
Right, not too long ago. Your work is so clean, so beautiful. It can definitely seem like you've been blowing glass a lot longer than that. And I think that's the passion and love that is just, you can see it flowing in you, and it needs to flow out.
I love it. Even right now, you know, I blow glass as long as I can every day. But that's how it's pretty much been since I started. It's just, there's so many different techniques. And that's why, like, you know, in the photos that I sent over before this interview, you can kind of see like the different contrasting, you know. With my recent work, a lot of it has, I just love working with the different pastel colors and all of that. But it is so fun unlocking all of these different puzzles with
Yeah.
these techniques. You know, it's like I was really into video games growing up, you know, and like getting to the next level. And it's like I get that similar you know, touchdown feeling, that similar, like, yeah, you know, after just accomplishing something. And with this medium, there really isn't that much information just readily available, you know. I mean, there is, but it's not
Compared
like
to
it's
10
just
years ago, it's a
yeah.
plethora. But you're right.
Well,
It's,
yeah,
it's a
totally.
little bit here and there. It's as much as people are willing to share, it's still secretive because
Yeah, totally.
we
But
are
it's
competitors and we,
mhm.
you know, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, sorry. And then you mentioned, I think, Stephen Wheeler as your mentor.
Yeah.
Have you had other mentors as well then?
Yes, I have. And so through my networking, I was doing the festival gig and then doing the cold calling. I lived in a pretty sweet camper and van, you know, and traveled the country. And through that, I was able to meet some really awesome people, and that actually connected me to Marcel Braun. And I got to apprentice for Marcel Braun, and I stayed at the Starship over in Eugene for a while. And through that experience, I got to meet so many awesome people. Actually, I got to help Marcel put together a glory hole, one of his borosilicate glory holes. Him and I built the whole thing from the bottom up. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that has to be so neat to just, you know, at your level, being a beginner at the time. And then,
yeah, this was 2 years ago. I had only even, it was coming up on a year of being on the torch, and I was rooming with Steve Bates, you know, and I got to go bowling with Banjo and Clinton Roman and Contrabasso, AK Crunk, all those guys every Saturday. It was pretty cool, especially for being a 1 year glass blower, just being around my idols that I have, you know, just looked up to my entire life, you know, as a life of knowing about Boro, especially. So just being in that environment really just fueled a passion, and it allows me to see the potential of Boro. And truthfully, it's limitless. It's endless. It doesn't stop, you know, and it still hasn't stopped. Personally, I think there's so much more that can be done with it. And I'm really excited to see what happens. Not even just with me, but with everyone. So
have you got to take any classes then, or have you mostly just done the mentorship type immersion things?
I have never taken a single class from anyone. I'm mostly self-taught. Stephen, you know, gave me some pointers in like the fundamentals. And then he was always present whenever I had any like questions. But when I started glass blowing, Stephen had primarily transitioned over to full-time tattoo.
Okay.
And he does some of the coolest tattoo work. If you ever need a tattoo and you're in Grand Rapids, message Cold Work for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think that's a big thing. Like, well, classes are awesome. They're great. And they're almost simple because you can schedule it for a little bit. But that immersion going into Starship, that's a next level commitment. And I'm sure you're still realizing things today that you've seen then, but didn't maybe understand it.
I didn't understand as much back then. Yeah, no, totally.
So you're still learning from an immersion.
Oh yeah. The more you learn, you're able to put together pieces of the puzzle that you didn't see, you know, at that time, for sure. Yeah, it totally. And so for me, being such a young, you know, glass blower and coming into the scene with a fire in me, you know, it's like, me personally, I know that I could take classes and they would be a huge benefit for me. But for me personally, like you said, there really is a lot of information available. And it really does, when it boils down to it, is just trial and error and putting in those hours on the torch, you know. And the torch is going to teach you more than I don't want to say anyone, but most people, you know.
Right. And you're the only one really people can show you, but you're the one that learns. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what people teach if you're not learning and
Yeah.
hands-on.
And everybody learns differently,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And everybody has different social skills for learning properly from people. So
That's a thing too. Hell yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Where do you get your inspiration and creativity for your artwork that you do?
You know, as I've gone through the different stages of and levels of my skills, you know, I've tried to keep it within the lines of knowing what I'm capable of. You know, it's like I have an image in my head that I would really love to be able to get to, you know, but I know what I have to kind of stay inside my means, you know.
Right.
But with that, I absolutely love working with sculpting nature. You know, as growing up on a farm, taking care of horses and, you know, farm animals and foraging. I was a junior hunter safety coordinator growing up. And I did a lot of just agriculture. I worked on a cherry farm and just have always been really connected with nature. My dad worked for the DNR for, you know, 36 years or whatever. And so just being so connected with nature, it's allowed me to just really express my feelings with that through my artwork. And it allows me to bring everybody just a little bit more back to nature and focusing on, you know, in my eyes, what's really important, you know, and that's the stuff around us. So, yeah.
Hell yeah, I love it. Well, what is your preferred style or technique that you like? I know you do a lot of sculpture work. Would you consider that your favorite technique, or do you something else? Or you?
So I definitely really do love sculpture. Sculpture is one of my favorite things. It makes me feel like a wizard. Being able to take something and then just being able to have an idea, and then all of a sudden, yeah, here it is. You know,
I think that's so hard, man.
I think it's awesome, and totally, it is. It's pretty difficult, you know, and going through especially when you're like a perfectionist. I've always been kind of neurotic where things have to be pretty precise, you know, or symmetrical or whatever. And when you start working
hard part, symmetricalness of stuff.
Oh yeah, totally. People who can sculpt faces is just, it blows me away, you know. Is it Taffy the Gray with some of his faces he does too? It's just, there's a lot of talented artists who can do their symmetry awesome. But yeah, so yeah.
Sculpting.
Yep. Sculpting is definitely probably my favorite because of the fact that when I got into glass blowing, basically the first day I transitioned into a full-time career because I had already been selling pendants full-time through my art collective. I had already the demographic to just jump in and sell whatever I make as pendants through my business that I already had. So with that, I never really got into too much hollow. And when I first started, I knew that nostalgia was always a great, you know, it's one thing to be able to look at something out of someone's mind and be like, wow, that is just beautiful. But as like a beginner, I knew that nostalgia connected to whatever I was able to create would, you know, help move work.
There's that hustle in you.
It just is. It's just it's just, yeah, hardwired.
Right.
It's a Kozegi thing. It's my last name. That's what everybody says. But either way, yeah. So not really having any motivation to move into the functional world, I primarily stuck to just sculpting. And it allowed me to get really creative with a lot of things, really quickly, actually. And being able to have that demographic of everyone that knew me in that our you know, little area, wanted to then come to me and ask for customs, you know, and So that just kind of even brought my sculpting skills even further, you know. And so yeah, with my favorite techniques are definitely sculpting, and learning a lot from Steven. He goes by Cold Work on Instagram, but he has passed down a lot of cold working techniques to me. So that brings me to like a lot of different things that I want to start incorporating into my artwork.
Right.
With the sandblasting and the etching, and the frit layering, and then flame polishing, and then doing the electroplating similar to like Ryan Fit or a lot of the other people who do the metal plating.
Right.
But I think that stuff is just super cool. But I'm trying to bring it all together. I want to do all this stuff so fast, but I do know that I am
Each one of those
working
is a new
through
rabbit
it,
hole. Each one's a new rabbit hole that
exactly
can become a whole nother just lifelong thing. So you got to be careful, but have fun.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Hell yeah. What's your favorite color to work with?
Man, right now, honestly, Ghost is probably like one of my favorite new colors. It's just so workable. Any flame chemistry is just super beautiful, and yeah, Ghost Galaxy is another one of my favorite ones that I've been using a lot of. Any like the classic heavy blue Stardust, and for a while, I wasn't able to afford all of like the super awesome nice colors that you have to get on an email list for, and it's like buying concert tickets, and which I think is really cool that there's a whole culture around that. But I just never really had those kind of funds. So for a long time, I did support Boro Batch, and I still do. And I, honestly, for any beginner glassblower and novice, we're moving forward, glassblower, I think Boro Batch is an awesome company that offers a whole wide variety of affordable colors that melt really well. But I agree. Out of their colors, Wild Honey Amber, I've used so much of their Wild Honey Amber. It's a really awesome color.
Hell yeah, I'll have to check that out, man.
Yeah.
Because I agree. They offer some great colors and very affordable.
Yeah. Especially for people who are, trying to learn. And that's what I did over at Steven's shop, Secret Expressions. I taught classes for a while, beginner classes. And I think that's just something else that's been in my blood too, from my mom, is just wanting to spread the knowledge, and help people kind of do what I did. I've dealt with a lot of my my emotions and mental traumas and all of that through just being able to be creative, and being able to pass that on to even the handfuls of people that I already have is a really fulfilling feeling, And
as you taught those people, did you also find that it also enhanced your skill ability?
Oh, absolutely. I think, there's so much knowledge that everybody has within them, even you, I mean, everybody. But once you actually start to say it out loud, it's like, oh, wow, that makes a lot more sense now that I'm bringing it back to surface, or just honing in on even like the terminology. For me, I learn something new every day, especially with how many techniques there are. Like you said, there's so many rabbit holes, it's awesome. There's never a dull moment in the shop, personally.
So with Ghost being one of your favorite colors in Galaxy, what color do you not like that you found is something that, they should probably not make no more?
I don't know if there's any that they shouldn't like make, but man, any of the yellow cadmium colors. When I first started, so many people wanted custom Pikachu pendants for me, which is awesome, But as I remember all the stress of dealing with that canary yellow, of just trying not to get it to bubble out, I can work with it now, but even but back then, it's like, man, so stressful.
But when you decide to work with it, you know the project's going to take twice as long now. It's like
twice as long for sure. When a customer says, "Hey, this is the colors," it's like, okay, yeah, we have to kind of orient that, into the formula. But yeah, I think that's probably the trickiest color. If you get into like deep encasing any of like the sparkly colors, you're not gonna have a good time.
yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. I like all the colors. I'm not like super biased on any of them.
And they all do have their, I shouldn't say not make them, but they all have their unique application sometimes.
Oh, totally.
Inside out, but
Absolutely.
They work okay here. And so
yep. Yeah. Especially for making like Murini and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah, be careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the most difficult piece that you've ever attempted to make?
Yeah, honestly, I was looking at that question this morning, thinking about like, man, I feel like glass blowing in general is pretty like difficult, I don't have any pieces that came to mind that was like, man, that was just so hard. I think I try to push myself every day, but
what's the next piece?
It's the next piece that's going to be the most difficult. And then you look back on it and it's like, that wasn't so hard, But a lot of it, I think, has to do with the level of patience that's required for a lot of pieces. And that can be kind of difficult for me because I have like ADD, especially for the long-term sandblasting projects. I want to do a shout out to my homie Decal, Derek Allison. I just recently had been working full-time from home now, but before I came here, I was working at his shop not too far from here. And him and I had worked on a lot of different really awesome pieces. One of which we were featured in Oregon Leaf. We had an article of one of our mushroom Sherlocks that we had made together.
Nice.
It was a really awesome piece for sure. And
your mushroom work is fire, man. I seen all the work. It's great.
Yeah, I love mushrooms. That's one of like my hobbies for sure. And growing up in the moist area of Michigan that I live in, we have a huge variety of edible mushrooms that you can go on. So that definitely brought me into that whole mushroom aspect.
Right.
Yep. But yeah, so back to the difficulty though. I think one of the hardest pieces I've made was a recycler with Derek Decal that it was entirely caramel. And it just, I think I probably put 5 or 6 hours into the sandblasting and etching of the whole thing. And that for me, just with that much focus, was hard. It was hard for me. I absolutely love sandblasting. I love the effects that it really gives, that whole new like dimension, of color spectrum with the matte finishes and all that. But it is so tedious if you want it to look the way you want it to.
Yeah, it's not for me. Like the fire is kind of the passion for me, and there are people out there that do so good at it. Like,
see, I love it. It's just takes so much focus.
It does.
And I like you said, just playing with fire and being in the flame, and it's more rewarding for me personally. But the finished product of any sandblasting anything though is just phenomenal. So
it absolutely is. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get to collaborate often then?
I do. I do pretty often, actually.
Nice.
With my style, that's what I really like with what I do, with my sculpting. It's really easy for me to collaborate with people because we can either, have everything kind of pre-prepped up with like my solid sculptures, and then we can kind of draw it from there. But with my pendants and everything, I've worked with a decent number of people, and with the networking and being involved with the different mediums. And that's what I really like doing is collaborating with other artists, other styles of artists with like woodworking. I've had a few artists who have laser engraved large wall pieces. And then
Oh, wow.
there was I made an implosion that somebody put as like the third eye on a Ganesh. That was a laser engraved wall piece that was really cool one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I love collaborating. I love the social aspects of it. And just getting to learn from
I think
someone
that's
else.
the coolest part. Is
Yeah,
learning and
yeah.
teaching.
Yeah, yep. And just trading knowledge. It's like you know, it's super rewarding. It feels good. And the friends that you make that way are just so long term. I've seen, you know, and just make
That's a
it
great
super
point.
meaningful, you know.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Hell yeah, that's a great point. And then have you ever competed in any kind of event or anything?
Nope, I've never competed at any events. The only event I've ever was super grateful to be a part of was performing on stage with Marcel at the Glass Art Society. It was his turn to do a performance at the Glass Art Society, and I got to be
You
one
were
of
his
the.
helper.
I was his helper, one of them.
Hell
So
yeah, that's so cool.
it's pretty
Man.
cool. Yeah,
Hell
it
yeah.
was pretty awesome.
Nice. Do you consume cannabis yourself?
Yes, I do. I have a Michigan medical marijuana card, and we have recreation here. So it's pretty awesome. I'm blessed to be in such a open state.
Absolutely. Do you like the flower, the concentrate, edibles, or do you just really like the entire plant as a whole?
I definitely like the entire plant as a whole. You know, when I'm trying to stay focused, I do like concentrates a little bit more. When I'm trying to hang out, I definitely like the flowers, the full spectrum. You know, and edibles, man, I think everybody has that story about edibles, you know, like, oh man, this one time, you know, and I have one of those as well. And it kind of keeps me away from eating too many edibles just from that. I think I ate 1,800 milligrams on accident.
Because you don't know.
Well, I just didn't know exactly how much was in the loaf of pumpkin bread that this friend gave me at this festival. And man, it was way too much. Right. But yeah, definitely. I love all the flavors and the quality that cannabis has really.
What a neat time to be alive. You know, you're a young gent coming through this. So
yeah, I've seen the whole transition real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And did you have any hobbies outside of glass?
Yeah, definitely. For the longest time, I've been an avid disc golfer.
Okay.
I love disc golf a lot. I was blessed to grow up next to Flip City Disc Golf Course, which is for a while it was ranked one of the #1 disc golf courses in the US. Super awesome course. But yeah, I love disc golfing. Michigan, even in Grand Rapids alone, there's I think 16 different courses. Michigan has like I don't even know how many, like 200 and something now. But it's just such a huge culture alone out here that it's really awesome. I think there was even a local head shop that just hosted a big disc golf tournament. But yeah, it's awesome that all these cultures are combining. Life is good over here in Michigan, man. It's pretty good. Like, I know you guys have it pretty good over in Colorado, but it's pretty good over here, man.
I think everybody, you know, most people, they don't give a fuck if you smoke weed, don't smoke weed. It's just there's a small group that make these little controlling things. Most people are just like, just whatever, man. Just leave me alone.
Do what you do. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What can we look forward to in the future from you?
A lot.
Hell
it's gonna be a lot. Yeah, I'm trying to go bigger for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, right now in Grand Rapids, we have an event called ArtPrize. And I'm just trying to make one of the reasons why I haven't been gravitating towards the functional world is because I want to go bigger. I want to do like large installations and probably will end up gravitating towards more soft glass.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you're the first person I interviewed that has said they might see the other side of the glass world. You know, a lot of them have kind of went from there and then twisted this way. So that's really
I'm going to
awesome.
be flip-flopping back and forth for sure. But for the size of the sculptures that I'd like to make, I think soft glass is going to be the way to go. So
man, that's cool. Well, good luck in that endeavor. And I can't wait to see what happens out of there.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hell yeah. And I mean, it's still early on. Do you still find you have the same passion and love that you did when you first started?
I think it's probably growing exponentially. I don't think it's going to stop.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I love glass blowing. You know, I growing up, I always knew I was meant to do something big, you know, and I just was so lost in the sauce trying to figure it out. And now that I've found it, I'm pretty much putting everything I have into this. So it's really important to me. I love glass blowing more than anything.
I love hearing that, man. Do it.
Yeah.
And hell yeah, I love it. Do you find that we missed anything that you want to add to this interview or share with your people?
Yeah, no, man. You know, without the community of people that we have as a part of this, we wouldn't be able to do it. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now,
no.
You know? And so just mad shout out to everyone. I think that's the culture that is it. That's community. You know, we're bringing a community back together. And in these past years, I feel like they haven't wanted us to be part of a community, you know?
No.
So I think that this culture is something that's really holding a lot of people together. And I think that the more love we spread, the more creativity we spread, the better that the world's going to be, the better that everybody's going to feel, you know? It's not going to make it any worse. I don't know. It hasn't made my life any worse. That's for sure.
Agreed. 100%. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I love hearing that. And I think that's it for me. Well, I want to know, where can we all follow you and see your stuff? Is it best on Instagram, Facebook? Do you have a website? What's the best place to see your gear?
Yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram. It's at diligent_glass. I'll be pretty much active on there every day. So
fresh, man. Well, thank you for your time here, Diligent. I appreciate it. And keep crushing it out, man. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Hey, thanks a lot, Steve. I appreciate it. Yep.
Peace out.
Peace out, man.
All right. Now, that was crazy. The energy level of this cat is just like brrr, the whole way through. Not obnoxious, just the pure, beautiful energy. And I think that energy is what is going into his glass, no doubt. I don't know, but it's just really neat to see how this guy is growing so quickly and so beautifully. And it was just a lot of fun to hang out with Diligent Glass. Really quickly, I want to mention Elev8 Ambassador Program. We got a really cool program for both the dolls and the gents out there, and really cool on how to help build, you know, all kinds of other glass blowers and Elev8 and earn cash and earn credits and just be a part of something that's really neat. Also, you need to check out Elev8 Veterans. It's our 501c3 where we get to help rehabilitate and reacclimate veterans with all kinds of different stuff. What we kind of do right now is we use some glass blowing classes, as well as if they're already using cannabis, we might try to get them a Silver Surfer. As well, there's a lot of other cool things that the leader of it, Teresa, she really helps out a lot of people. So go check it out, and you got a little bit of change in there, go throw it our way, and subscribe and elevate mind, body, spirit.